True. One of the reasons I am talking about purgatory today is because I am testifying to something that I didn't read in a book. It's nothing that I was taught by anybody. This is something that I've been through myself. The Lord, in His amazing, mysterious way of doing His pedagogy with us, the souls, He took me through this, and He put me through this, and I can testify to what I have been through. I have seen and I have lived purgatory. And I testify to that with my life. With my life, I do. Because I don't want any of you to go to purgatory. I don't want any of you to go to hell. No one. And God doesn't want any single soul to be wasted. That's why I'm here, testifying to this with my life. Because this is nothing I read. It's something I've been through. I went through this mystical experience with the Lord. First, the illumination of conscience. Well, I was awake and conscious, and then I went into a vision where I was put to a trial. And in this trial I was on a lake with the water up to my waist. And in front of the lake there was a rock, a golden rock, where I have seen the Lord. And then I was put to a trial. This is what happened. While I was in the lake, I have seen the army of the devil. I've seen it. Millions, millions and millions and millions that you can never count them, ever. Of devils, demons, whatever you can call them, spirits of the dark. And then millions of souls that were wasted, condemned souls, millions. I tell you what I saw. When we are here, during this life on earth, in the flesh, we are going in two directions. One, we are becoming a saint. We are looking for sanctity. We are sanctifying ourselves. Or we are demonizing ourselves. It's the only two directions we are taking. So when you get closer and closer to God, you sanctifying yourself. Then when you leave the body, you are a saint. You are like an angel. Like the Lord very clearly says it in the scriptures. When He was being tested by the Pharisees, they were asking Him, whose husband is this woman going to be? She married 7 brothers. And then the Lord says, nobody, because you're going to be like angels in the afterlife. So we will be like angels. But then, you know what? If you go the wrong direction, you will be like angel, like a fallen angel. You will be like a demon. So what I saw in the lake, I was in the territory of Satan, because I was in mortal sin, not repented. Because even though I was there in the presence of the Lord, all I wanted to do was run away from mercy, run away from forgiveness. That is the result of mortal sin. It builds you up in pride and self-love, and you are not able to receive love, mercy, forgiveness, compassion from anybody, much less from God. That is the fountain of all. So now, I am there, trying to run away from grace, and I'm surrounded by the devil. I am in the devil's territory. That's where I am. And I tell you, there is no more scary sight ever you can ever dream to see than that. And even though I saw the devils, I saw all that army as human beings. They looked like human beings, but I knew they weren't human beings. They were fallen angels and condemned souls that turned into demons. But I saw them as human beings because each one of them represented my sins. You see, so I have seen at once all my sins of impurity. They look like all the women I fornicated with, like all the women I committed adultery with. And I knew those weren't the women, but they looked like them. And I remember every one of those sins, because since they were not forgiven, because I left the church for 33 years, left the sacrament of confession, of penance, all the sins were present. You notice when Jesus told Peter that He was giving the key to heaven to him, and that everything he will lose on earth will be lost in heaven. And that power that He gave the apostles to forgive sins or to retain them is a fact. You see, I was not absolved. Therefore, I was tied to the devil in the presence of the Lord, because I was not absolved. All of my sins were present in the presence of God. And this is the most painful thing. And on top of that, I didn't want forgiveness. I wanted to run away. I hated myself. I hated the devil. And I knew I was going to end up hating God. So now, where I am, this is what happened. I am there, and I noticed every single sin was guarded by a fallen angel. That's why you wonder, why is it that people that are so evil are so successful? How come nothing happens to them? And the good people, always bad things are happening to them. I tell you why. Because they are backed up by an army. And they have the invisible army, the spirits in the air, backing them up. But you know what they're going to get out of that? They're going to get hell out of that. That's why they are successful. What good does it do if we win this life, like the gospel says? If we're going to lose our eternal life, what good does it do to have all this power and all these amazing gifts of this earth if we're going to lose our life? Because I have seen the condemned souls. I have seen hell. And I tell you something, this is something beyond anybody's imagination. This is not a game. Our life is serious. It's very serious. We have to be awake. We have to be concerned about everything we're doing. Every little thing we're doing. About every little thing we're thinking. About everything we're saying. About everything we're touching. About everything we're feeling and desiring and wanting. All of those things, you have to think about it. And you have to place them at the foot of the cross. And ask the Lord for mercy and compassion. Because we are not able to do it on our own. We are helpless about it, or without the Lord. That's why this great army of Satan comes along with all this power. But you know something? Even the smallest soldier of Christ is going to be able to defeat the greatest army of the devil. The smallest soldier. Only 2,000. Praise the Lord. Because we have the power. And the power is Jesus. He gave it to us. And He's here with us. He's fighting with us. And He gave us all of the weapons. All of them. You know, we have the greatest weapons in our Catholic Church. I was shown my faith, even though I was the last Catholic, gone. And the Lord showed me the power that we have in the Rosary, the Stations of the Cross. You want to torture the devil? You want to really torture the devil? Go for the Stations of the Cross. Because he will run away. Run away. You know? Yes. He will run away. There was not a single demon can be around the Stations of the Cross. And pray them really loud. Really loud. Yes. Because you see them running. You see them running. You see, we have weapons that are unbelievable. Weapons that we won't believe how powerful they are. Then I am there in the waters of hell. And at the same time, because of Our Lady. And Our Lady is the queen of the souls in purgatory. You know, the biggest relief ever, you imagine. She's always interceding for them. She feels for them. You see, purgatory is a state of the soul. This is the way I saw it. When we leave this body, we have only 2 ways to go. One, we will fly into God. And other, we will sink into the bowels of the earth. There is no other way. You see, the soul is like a dove. But you've never seen a dove with a backpack or a suitcase, right? The dove that is loaded cannot fly. You see, so what happened to a soul that is loaded with earthly life, attached to everything, is not able to take off. So what happened when you leave the body? You go down. Because you don't have flesh anymore to stay in this illusory material world. Because it is an illusion when you look at it from the spiritual world. It's just an illusion. But to us it's everything. You see, now when you leave, when this body dies, and your soul is there, there is no place to go because you can't be here. You can't go to God because you're loaded of attachments to the earth. Where do you go? Below here. Below. And that is a very scary state. You see what I saw? When I was standing on that lake at the same time, all of a sudden I felt, when I saw the presence of Our Lady, I felt an amazing large valley of loneliness. You know, cold as ice. Cold. And it was packed with millions of souls. You see? And then at the same time, there was a great valley of fire. It looked like hell, but it was not hell, it was purgatory. You see, it was purgatory. It was souls that made it, but didn't make it to sainthood. And they had to purgate. They had to be purified. But I tell you this, purgatory is a state of sainthood. Because souls in purgatory can no longer sin. They don't have flesh. And then also, they accepted the Lord as the Lord and rebuked the devil forever. So they are holy as you can get. They have not even the smallest doubt of guilt. No longer. It's about charity already. And it's about love. But they suffer and they lose. Because they are separated from God. They cannot be with Him. And that's the most painful thing to go through. And also the pain of the senses. Because the fire or the cold is either too cold or it's either fire. So, therefore, souls in purgatory are always between that cold and that heat of the flames of purgatory, the purifying flames. And this is very difficult to explain in human words, because there's no way you can ever translate the spiritual realm into a human realm. But the best I can do is to tell you this. Levels of purification in purgatory are so large. There are so many levels that if we all die here at this very moment, as I told you before, we probably not going to be able to see each other, because we all going to be in a different level, according to what we have done with our lives regarding and related to God and to the devil. So it depends on where we were. So here's what happened. If the devil is guarding vice and sin, and the angels of the Lord are guarding virtues, at the moment of death, the economy of the soul comes up immediately. And you are the result of what you did in relationship with sin and grace. So what is purgatory? Purgatory is the final result of your deeds. Now, when you end up with an account in red, because you are not at peace with God, and you didn't attain sainthood on earth, then you are facing a purification. Purification is filled with hope, because you know and you are told by the angels of the Lord. You see, when I was in a state of suffering in the presence of Our Lady, and I felt like I was in this amazing valley of suffering, I had the angels of the Lord, my guardian angel, the angels of the Lord, letting me know the hope of salvation is present in the mercy and forgiveness of God. But I was not accepting it. But I know a soul in purgatory, like the ones I saw, the millions I saw, they were all already in the presence of mercy. So they accepted it. They were different than me. They accepted it. And they had that hope in them. They had that beautiful hope that they knew they were saved. But they knew they couldn't present themselves to the eternal banquet of the Lord, because they were not properly dressed. They were filled with all kinds of sins that were not purgated, that were not repaired during the earthly life. So they were purgated. They were purifying themselves. So the most beautiful prayer you can ever see is the communion of saints. I never knew what that meant, but I've been through that myself. I was in it. And this is how it works. If you are here praying for a soul in purgatory, what you do is this. We are the militant church on earth, as you know. And they are the purgating church, the suffering church. And then we have the triumphant church in heaven. So what happened? How do we get together to be the communion of saints? You are here needing, praying for a soul in purgatory. And then that soul in purgatory is lined up with you. Both of you are looking up to heaven for mercy and compassion. To the triumphant church. That is the perfect communion of saints. When you go to Mass, remember, the three churches are meeting right there. It's the biggest act of mercy ever given to us, the Eucharist. There's nothing that compares. The Lord showed me the mystical presence of God in the church during the Mass. And this is so large that if we only see one little bit of this mystery, you will walk into the church on your knees. On your knees. Every single pew in the church is guarded by an angel. Every single pew. Every single fountain of the holy water is guarded by angels. Every column, every statue of a saint, not telling the altar, everything, the church outside, the walls outside, everything is guarded against the enemy. And still, you see the enemy walking into the church. And you know how he walks into the church? Have you seen sometimes somebody in handcuffs being escorted by a guard, and they are together? That's the way Satan walks into the church, with a prisoner. That's the only way he can walk in there, with a prisoner. And he walks in there. Now, the lukewarms are in a lot of trouble in the church, because they are the prey of the devil so easy. You know, a lukewarm is going to be distracted with somebody's dress. You know, it's going to be distracted with somebody's cough. It's going to be distracted with somebody's way of walking. And anything is going to be a distraction. Because that person is not in tune with God. He's not there visiting the Lord. He's visiting his little mischievous ways. That's what it is. So now, purgatory is all related directly to every single action on the flesh. We are here now, you see, and everything we do is into account. The same way every single hair of ours is counted. Our days are counted. Also our deeds are counted, each one of them. So now, we have the sacrament of confession, the penance that we are going to solve by the absolution we are giving in the church, which is the greatest gift given to us before the greatest of all, that is the Eucharist. We have to realize, when we are going to confession, like I told you yesterday, we know we are getting ready of the army of the devil. Imagine what that means. If you could only see one little thing of what I saw, you will understand what I mean. It's the most amazing gift, to be unchained from the devil. If you die right after confession, you will find yourself in the presence of the Lord, free from the presence of the devil. That doesn't mean you are going to go straight to heaven if you haven't repaired the sins you were forgiven. Like the Council of Trent was saying, what I read in the beginning. You know, it's not that we confess our sins and that's it. You know, we are just forgiven and that's it. It's not about that. We have to repair. We have to repair. Reparation begins with a real change of life. We have to really change. You can't keep on going to confession and keep on doing the same things all over again. You see, you cannot do that. I see angels of the Lord consoling the souls in purgatory, letting them know that they're going to heaven eventually. Some of them are going to be there until the end, until the judgment. And some of them are going to be released before time because of our intercessions. And now, because of divine mercy. You know the prayer of Fatima, when we say, forgive our sins, save us from the fires of hell, all of these things are bringing all these blessings to the souls, you know, and releasing them earlier. You know what happens when souls are released from purgatory earlier? All of us get closer to God, because we are a single mystical body. You have to learn how to let go of everything. Let go. Let go, and meaning, this is the way I was explained by the Lord, how to let go. Learn about faith. Learn about Abraham, the father of faith. The only way to get into the real faith is to learn Abraham. So meet Abraham in your bones. Bring it in. Bring him in. It's painful. It's not easy to bring Isaac to the altar to be sacrificed. To bring everybody. Remember Jesus? Your mother and brothers are out there. He said, no, my mother and brothers are those that follow the Father, that believe in Him. You see, that is letting go. Letting go. It's like, I'm not talking about abandoning everybody and just going on your own with a backpack and leaving your mother and sister and children. No, it's about being with them, loving them, but not possessing them and not being attached to them. So, what it is, not until you do that, you're going to understand what is a soul free of attachment that is going to be able to leave the flesh and fly to the Lord. The Lord asks us to go to heaven, not to hell or purgatory. He's asking us to go to heaven. That's the calling. He didn't come here to say, by the way, I came here to teach you how to end up in purgatory. Never. That's not in the gospel. You see, he came here to tell us, I want you to go with me to where I am. I'm going before you to prepare a place for you. In heaven, not in purgatory, not in hell. So that's why we have to learn how to do it. How do we do it? Let go of everything. Let go. You see, I tell people that are so deep in the faith, like I was saying yesterday, they learn everything about the mystics. They follow in the most amazing spiritualities, and they know everything about it. But I tell them, why don't you give me a little test? Go home, open your closets, and look at it, and see how much of what you have there you're using. And try to give everything away that you don't use. Just try. And you're going to find out how much you have grown spiritually. You see? It's about that. We cannot fool ourselves. You know, we can't fool ourselves. We can spend our whole life in penances and praying the most amazing difficult prayers and doing the most amazing difficult pilgrimage and all of that. But if we haven't changed our little ways, it's nothing that we're doing. Nothing. We're building up a purgatory. Because you're going to be sitting by your closet for 2 centuries. Right? Let go of your shirts and let go of your shoes and all of these things. And you know something very funny? A lot of Catholic people that are very committed, they have 200 rosaries and a lot of medals and I don't know how many novenas and all kinds of books. And I say, do you know how much you will benefit if you give a rosary away? The person that receives it never forgets you and is going to pray for you every time they hold a rosary. A lot of things we're doing wrong, we're holding into a lot. And those things are no good for you. No good. Because if you check yourself out, all of those things are holding you into the world and away from God. And it's very subtle because the devil creeps in our religious life. The devil creeps in our spirituality. You see how people are possessive. Sometimes they have these little prayer groups and only one can speak. The rest have to shut up, Yes. And a lot of little holy ways, you know what I mean? Like really holy ways. And all of those things are terrible because all of those things are getting people angry and building up a lot of stress. And sometimes I go to preach in little prayer groups and there's so much tension there. I think I walk into some kind of martial arts group or something, like they're ready to jump on each other. And it's all because we don't let go. We don't let go. We try to grab everything, control everything, or expect everybody to admire us and accept us. So we either controlling everybody or trying to expect everybody to approve us. So those 2 things are horrible because we have to stay out of the 2. We have to stay with the Lord. We don't want anybody to approve us and we don't want to control anybody. We want to be with God, the one that really does it. So now, purgatory is all about that. Purgatory is built right here. So you want to let go of purgatory? You want to save yourself from purgatory? Begin to let go of everything. So know Abraham in your life. And he is going to save you from purgatory. It's the only way. Learn to let go. Because the only way you can really assure yourself that you're doing a real spiritual growth is if you learn how much you let go of everything. You see, like I was saying yesterday, you see monks and hermits and priests that left everything behind, but they didn't leave themselves. They are attached to themselves. You see priests that are so built up on themselves, they look like they are standing on a throne, There's Father, yes. You see, they speak like this. They didn't let go of themselves. They are a temple of pride. It is no more horrible. There is nothing more horrible than a bishop that is so much in pride, or a priest. Isn't that horrible? It's terrible. There's nothing more beautiful than a humble priest. Isn't that? It's like the greatest gift. Same thing happens with all of us, not only priests and nuns, but we have to let go. We have to stop being so important. We are nothing. You see, some people are a doctor all day long, 24 hours a day, a doctor, right? The attorney, the rich one of the neighborhood, they are that all the time. You see, you have to stop being. We are nothing. We have to crumble. We have to demolish ourselves and become nothing because we are just dust and we're going to be buried. You see, the only thing that's going to be left of us is the love that we give, not the love that we receive. The love that we give. That's all is going to be left of us. It's the only money that is going to be deposited in heaven. Love.